Today we're going to look at hazard maps. We are going to look at different types of hazard maps that could be used with whatever job description you might have. What are hazard maps? Hazard maps are visual representations of the workplace that identify where hazards are that could cause injuries. Later we will look at hazard maps that are not just used for everyday workplace. Hazard maps can look at for physical hazards, for frequency of exposures, levels of exposures, a specific chemical, or specific workers or job classifications most likely to be exposed. Why hazard map? Hazard map, or hazard mapping as it sometimes is called, can aid in identifying any occupational safety or health hazard. Take for instance the example in the low right side of your screen. This is just one example of a workplace hazard map. Much like a regular map, a hazard map has a legend that shows and states what the hazards are and where they are located. A hazard map also helps to gather information and knowledge about hazards. This way you and your coworkers can work together to eliminate or reduce the risk of accidents and injuries. Hazard mapping, or hazard map, should be done as a group so that the vast array of skill and experience and knowledge that each worker has pertaining to their job, this collaboration by working together to identify, prioritize, and solve problems. So incorporated with what has been discussed so far, AR 385-10 paragraph 10-2 states that all Army personnel will be provided training in identification of all known and perceived hazards, whether that be in the workplace, conducting ground operations, or aviation operations. All different kinds of workplace, natural disaster, city danger zone, combative threat locations, and obstacles to aviation, hazard maps will be made. Aviation hazard location map. As per AR 385-10 states, a detailed hazard location map covering the entire local area will be maintained current and posted for ready access by all crews. Hazards will be analyzed and prioritized in terms of accident severity and probability. Maps will be updated quarterly or as hazards are identified. Typical hazards that will be found on an aviation hazard location map are buildings, bridges, towers, lit and unlit, wires, trees, wind turbines. Note: wire hazards consist of power lines, guy wires, communication wire, fences, missile guidance wire, and wire barriers. Ensure that a detailed hazard location map covering the entire unit of operational area is posted in current per DAFAM 385-90. An aviation location hazard map, if current and up to date, gives a clear identification of aviation hazards. In closing, ensure that a hazard map, be that workplace, ground, or aviation, continues to be updated. The hazard map is a living, breathing document and at times needs new and old information updated.